What's up guys, Cody here, back with another patch rundown for patch 11.7. There are quite a few changes here, some of which pertain to support, so if you want my opinions as to how this affects my tier list for support, check out the support tier list video that should have been out at the same time as this one. I wasn't too lazy. Anyways, let's get into it. So, starting with an Alistar nerf. Alistar loses a bit of damage on his Q and a bit of damage on his E auto. Alistar does do quite a bit of damage, and over the last year, they've been slowly nerfing it down. I don't necessarily think this is going to do much in terms of like affecting his spot on the meta, but it does hurt to a small degree. Amumu Q cost goes down, E cooldown goes down. I feel like Amumu's just always gonna be a good low elo jungler. So I mean, yeah, it's never Amumu's gonna always struggle to be good at high elos just because how straightforward and simple he is. So I mean, I guess good for him. I didn't think he was in a terrible spot. Wasn't as good as a spot as some of the other junglers, so okay. Ashe gets her ultimate cooldown decrease. This, I'm actually surprised they did this because Ashe Arrow is the defining feature of Ashe. It's such a huge thing with her, and it's oftentimes like the reason why like you pick her is because like you want the extra range, you want the slow, but then you want that arrow which gives you self peel, it gives your team engage, it gives your team just a lot of ways to utilize that. And yeah, especially when Ashe already kind of goes for, well, I guess not so much right now, people aren't really going like a cooldown oriented build, but in the past it was quite a problem. So yeah, that's an interesting one. Definitely be on the lookout for that. Braum's getting a buff, which is really surprising to me. His E cooldown goes down by 2 seconds, and his ult, the knockup, is being extended a little bit. So while Braum is not, I guess, popular or meta right now, every time I've played Braum, I've felt like he's been in a good spot. Like every time I pick him up, I'm like, damn, this champion's actually really damn good. The main issue with Braum is that he's not proactive, he's reactive, but with how against enchanters, that's not as good, although you can play proactively with Braum against those if they misposition. But at high elo where I play at, there's more just of the tank supports and whatnot. So Braum can do very well into those, especially if like they take a low percentage play, then Braum's gonna very heavily punish it. So yeah, I think Braum was already in a decent spot, and these buffs just make him better. So definitely gonna be playing him more. Necrom's getting another nerf. I guess that's good. This is you know, on an ability that actually affects his ganks. So yeah, that's definitely gonna hurt him a little bit. Still gonna be really strong. Ivern's getting a nerf on the late game damage on his E. I haven't seen an Ivern in over a month, so I couldn't tell you why this is happening at all. So I'm really gonna comment on that. Kaisa finally gets a nerf on the ultimate. Finally, we're seeing a Kaisa nerf. I mean, I would have preferred if it was affecting her damage, like her passive maybe, but I guess this is something. So, as a support, it means I can abuse this more. It means that she's just slightly weaker, but it's still, yeah. Granted, I do think Kaisa's fallen off in terms of like being this S plus tier ADC. I think over the last couple of months, that's really shown that Kaisa doesn't really do too much unless she gets really, really far ahead. So, like, if I have a Kaisa on my team, I'll generally get her super fed, but even then, if the Kaisa's not going Kraken Slayer, she's generally not doing a whole lot. If Kaisa ends up going Gale Force, then she just ends up having 0 damage, and it's really dumb. So, okay, finally Kaisa's getting a nerf at least. Kindred's getting a buff? Okay. This is a really scary buff. So, I mean, I just played for Kindred that literally was like 12-0 at like the 15-minute mark, and it was just OP as all hell. So I did not think Kindred needed this. I thought Kindred actually was in a good spot. The problem with buffing Kindred is that she's a snowball heavy champion. If she gets those first couple of marks and gets going, she becomes a menace on the Rift. You just die to her. She shows up and she kills you, and if you try to fight her, she just ults. So yeah, expect to see Kindred being played a bit more with these changes. Granted, like, she doesn't do amazingly well into Hecarim and some of the other meta junglers, but if those don't get played, Kindred kind of just runs over everyone. Lissandra's getting another buff. They really want Lissandra to actually start doing stuff, I guess. I mean, it's okay. Lissandra's problem right now that she doesn't. She's too short ranged, with not enough. She's just too short ranged is like the big thing. She can do okay into certain matchups and certain situations, but with how the meta ends up being, she doesn't have enough damage. How fights are played out. Fights are either like poke, 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 and then go in, or they're just really explosive, and are catch orientated. So I guess this change will help because her Q is what she's spamming the most. Okay. 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 I don't think it's gonna really change too much. I don't know how she does in lane is the main thing. If she has good lane matchups with the meta champions, then we'll see more of her. That's all I can really say about that. Kaiser Q isolated damage increased. That's a little scary. I do not like to see that change. Kaiser is not a fun champion to necessarily play against. Not necessarily when it's like in top side, because I can't really talk about that. But just it's very annoying to have him on the enemy team, since it means anytime you want to go for a dragon or a baron, if he's anywhere near your jungler, you're not getting that dragon or baron. Or yeah, you're not getting the dragon or baron if the enemy jungler is there to steal with the smite. So, and then you're coin flipping, and yeah, I feel like that was like a really strong thing about Kaiser. Apparently, he needs help though. I don't know. The Mordekaisers in my games generally went even in lane. I don't know. Well, Rel's getting a nerf. Stun duration goes down. This is really big. I haven't even been playing Rel that much anymore. Her reliance on needing flash to do anything in bot lane is a really big issue for solo queue. And I've just been sticking to poke champions or Alistar. I've been staying away from Rel. Especially because like her E is still kind of buggy, where if you try to click on somebody and you don't click like exactly on them, it'll just proc your E or some shit like that. And that's been really annoying to deal with, and yeah. She's just so heavily team reliant. So I think competitively, this is still like a big nerf, but her initial CC combo is really strong in a competitive environment still. But this really, like, this obviously this hurts her team fights, but it also hurts her late phase quite a bit. That extra quarter second stun means a lot for the 2v2 fight. Yeah, this definitely hurt. Emo. Whatever. These changes don't do anything. Thresh Lantern goes down for shield value. Yeah, this is because normally max shield second on Thresh because it's cool. The thing with this though is that it doesn't affect Thresh's laning phase, which is the main reason you're playing Thresh, is because Thresh has one of the strongest laning phase in the game now. So yeah, like obviously losing 40 shield at level whatever kind of sucks. But it doesn't make a difference for laning phase. So for solo Q especially, this is meaningless. Meaningless change for solo. DONNA loses 2 AD. Yeah, I'm actually surprised they nerfed Tristana because he's still not being played that much. I guess they're saying in pro play she's a lot of play. I haven't been watching a lot of pro play lately. I haven't had the time. But yeah, I mean, she is strong. She is, in my opinion, one of the strongest, if not the strongest. So, I don't necessarily think knocking 2 damage is gonna do all that much. Maybe it will. I think she has enough damage in her kit to make up for all that. Udyr gets another nerf. Cool. Once again, haven't seen an Udyr played in like a month ever since the nerfs. Varus is getting a buff. Good. I really like it when Varus is in the meta. I say that, but then the meta ends up being Varus. But I really like it when Varus is playable because it's you can play him as a utility mate or utility ADC, and the on-hit build right now is not that good in my opinion because of how explosive team fights can be. If you're up against a really heavy tank line from the enemy, then yeah, you can go the on-hit, but oftentimes lethality build is just so much better because it provides you more consistent in ways to do it. And it also gives you just a slightly better lane. The only problem with the lethality build is that it is inferior in terms of DPS for what Varus could put out with a on-hit build, but once again, then Varus is gonna just die before he can. That's the problem with Varus right now. Can't go the lethality build. Well, he can, but it's just at a certain point you sit there and ask yourself, why am I not just playing a different champion? Astro gets a buff. Cool. Haven't seen Astro in months. Again, last one that I did see, terrible. Yeah, I don't know that. Okay, and the Yorick change. This change is kind of significant. Marked enemy champions and large monsters now awaken nearby gives up to a max 4. So pretty much what this means is that you can have your ghouls attack somebody. You can use your E, have the ghouls attack somebody, then keep hitting the wave, keep killing the wave to summon more minions, more ghouls to go and attack him. His walkers now do 200% damage when they leap to the marked. Ooh. That's a lot of extra damage. Walk into targeting outside of E now cast a million. I do not like it when they do these changes. So, okay. They changed it. There's two ways that abilities get casted in League of Legends. Either cast it at max range, if you click it outside of the range, or your character walks up to cast it, character walks up to be able to cast it where you. I don't like it when they change how that function works on a champion, because then it means that you have to completely relearn how it works. And oftentimes, I just find it better if it's walk into range instead of cast at max. For stuff that's a targeted ground-based ability. So I really don't like that. Granted, though, I don't play York, so maybe York players that change. I don't know. They're saying it's a quality of life adjustment, so okay, sure. Overall, this should make York a lot better. Essence Reaver getting nerfed again. It's almost like the item was actually good to begin with. Wow, and people just weren't buying it. Wow! 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 Imagine that. Oh. Anyways, yeah, I think people are being stupid with the Essence Reaver thing and not properly evaluating it before. So, yep, good to see it's getting nerfed. Everfrost is finally getting nerfed. Once again, not surprising. It was like super obvious when they did the changes that this. And I already thought it was decent and that nobody was really taking the time to use it properly beforehand. And they did the cast time change, which made all the difference to people. So the biggest problem with Everfrost was the cooldown. So it going to 30 seconds is very nice because it means that your opponent can't just constantly threaten you with it. And putting the damage down. The item is supposed to be used as a utility item. It's not supposed to be used as like a big damage item. So it shouldn't feel like one. Lord Doms is getting a nerf. Cookie Cut On as the go-to second purchase for where is this change orientated to? Doesn't say. Cool. Yeah. I don't have any ADCs in any of my games ever build this as a second item. I never see my ADCs build this as a second item, and I really wish they did. I think in pro play they do this, but like I've never seen my ADCs build this as a second item. And oftentimes my ADCs never build this anyways. So that's cool. Yeah, that kind of sucks. But and then Soldier's Grudge is getting buff. I hate this item so much. I hate Soldier's Grudge so much. The ability to have a slow off of your abilities for AD champion is really annoying to deal with. Okay. Triforce is getting a buff. Yes, finally. They're readjusting the stats on this thing again. I really don't think they know what they're doing with this thing. Because this is like the third time now they've readjusted. Threefold strikes now stacks on towers. Oh, it wasn't second on towers. Thank God we changed the mythic passive on this. Holy shit. That was what was holding this thing back a lot. Honestly, I think the only person that could really use Triforce properly was Jax. I think it was just Jax. He was the only one that could effectively use Force, and that was because the mythic gave attack speed. Nobody else could realistically use it because they just couldn't. The attack speed on it was just so much worse than just picking up like a Divine Sunderer or just any other item. So thank God. I mean, technically, if Jax was going this item more often, this would have been a nerf to Jax in a way, but I don't think Jaxes were going Triforce, so... Yeah, changing the mythic passive to 3 AD, 3 move speed, 3 ability haste is so much better. It seems really minor. Like, oh, it's only 3 AD, only 3 move speed, only 3 ability haste. Yeah, but all those things combined, move speed in this game is OP. It's always going to be OP, especially for the champions that want to get this item. It's going to be very strong. So expect to see this item being picked up by a lot more people. Granted, it's still competing for a slot with Stridebreaker. It's still competing with Stridebreaker because there are a lot of champions that go Stridebreaker that would or at least that have the option of also going Triforce. But Stridebreaker's been getting a couple nerfs lately, so maybe Triforce being picked up. But yeah, overall, I like the change. Turbo Kimtank getting a nerf! Quickly broke speed limits in our expectations. No shit. Once again, Turbo Kimtank is just like, I don't know why it took people so long to figure out that this item was actually really good. It's a righteous glory! Like, no shit, it's gonna be good. So, okay. The slow thing on it doesn't matter. Nobody gets this item for the slow. In fact, by the time you're on somebody, you just CC'd them. That's the thing with this item, is that you're not... whoever you get on is never actually ever slow. They're CC'd or just dead. So, yeah, I mean, it's a nerf, and it's a necessary nerf. I'm more so just frustrated that it took people this long to start abusing it, and it took Riot this long to nerf it. It does hurt supports a little bit that would want to potentially go this. So like Alistars would sometimes go this, and yeah, really just Alistar sometimes. But that just means that you just end up going lock it a little bit more, and you can still go this with those champions. But yeah, I don't know. It just I'm a little frustrated because it does mean it hurts my vibe. So okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, this was the last other thing. We've made changes to Summoner's Rift ranked LP formulas and a general skill detection to provide smoother LP gains and losses across the board. These will help players. These will help ensure players receive LP at a more predictable rate, and outlier gains or losses will be less frequent. Thank God. Everybody was saying that, you know, this was an issue ever since preseason. It took us 7 patches into the actual season to actually fix it, though. You know, that's what, 5 months it took them to actually fix the problem. Finally. Because, yeah, it's just dumb. It's really dumb when I get, like, almost single digits LP for a win, and then get -20 for a loss. Okay, even though I'll be on like win. Donna bug fix for just checking to see. Fix a bug where Banshee's Veil would not be affected by item haste, only on. That I think I've had that happen to me a couple times. Nope, we did not fix the bug. Okay. That's that. Yeah, I'll be doing port tier list. Like I said, it should be out at the same time as the video. Overall, good patch. A lot of good changes. Some of them I don't understand. Like I don't understand. Scared of the Ashe change, but yeah, overall good patch. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, remember to like and subscribe. And as a reminder, I stream Twitch, link in the description below. You can find me streaming over there most evenings. Thanks guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.